Your heart breaks. It continues to break.
Now on GMU at 6, an emotional plea from the father of a missing Utah girl. Hear what leads police and the FBI are following a day after her disappearance.
Companies are not really helping out these drivers right now.
And rising gas prices are prompting people to carpool. What this means for ride-sharing companies, coming up.
And the weather is a lot calmer in northern Utah this morning, but we are still seeing times of wet weather in southern Utah with snow in Cedar City. We'll talk about how long this wet weather will last coming up on Good Morning Utah that starts right now.
Live, we're there for you. Good Morning Utah at 6 starts now.
Good morning, Utah. I'm Brian Carlson.
And I'm Jillian Smuckler. It's 6 o'clock on this Thursday, and we begin with breaking news out of Spanish Fork, where the search is on for a missing elderly man this morning. Police say 76-year-old Richard Reed Larson left in the middle of the night and hasn't been seen since. Now, he was last seen at his home near Spanish Fork High School. Reed is described as 5'6", 160 pounds with gray hair and brown eyes. So if you have any information, call police. And this morning, we're hearing from the father of that missing endangered teen out of Duchesne County. 13-year-old Riley Seacrest of Roosevelt has been missing since Tuesday morning. Now, she got a Facebook message around the time she went missing from username Monkey King Buddha saying, quote, "I'm waiting." Now, friends say she's been talking to 25-year-old Justin Woodruff online. He's now a person of interest in the case. Now, hear what Riley's father has to say about this startling new development.
The way that I can explain it is like having a ton of bricks laid on your chest and trying to breathe. You can't breathe. You can't. Your heart breaks. It continues to break. And you just hope that she's safe, that she's not been hurt.
You feel for that father right there. Now, he's asking everyone to share pictures of Riley to help in the search. So take a good look at your screen. If you think you've seen her or have any information, call police.
In an update, a 3-year-old girl injured in a 9-car pileup on I-15 in Ogden has now died. State troopers say slick conditions caused that crash yesterday morning. It shut down northbound I-15 near 21st Street for at least 2 hours. The girl was initially rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but she died yesterday afternoon. Several other people in that crash also had minor injuries.
In a weather alert this morning, our latest winter storms are bringing lots of snow to Utah's mountains. You're taking a live look up Little Cottonwood Canyon near Alta this morning. As you see, that snow continues to come down. Now, it's been dumping like this for the last several days, and the resort there says they've seen more than 2 feet of fresh powder there. Now, obviously, that's good news for skiers, but it does come with some risks. So for more on that, ABC4's Curtis Booker joins us live at the base of Little Cottonwood Canyon this morning. And Curtis, what is all the snow doing for our avalanche danger?
Yeah, Jillian, well, thanks for all that snow. The Utah Avalanche Center says they're seeing unusual avalanche conditions right now, and the risk for avalanche danger is high in our northern Utah mountains. We're talking from Provo all the way up to Cache Valley. Now, we just saw a snowplow come through here just a few seconds ago, making sure the roads are nice and safe for people heading through Little Cottonwood Canyon. And, of course, you know, a lot of people want to get in on the powder runs right now, but officials with the Utah Avalanche Center say we have to be vigilant right now. Of course, we know we've seen crews do that avalanche control here at Little Cottonwood Canyon yesterday, and officials say we have to stay vigilant as that snow continues to pile up about 2 feet, according to our pinpoint weather team. Now, we spoke to the Utah Avalanche Center, Craig Gorton, about what this means for people heading into the backcountry today.
The big take home is that these are unusual avalanche conditions for us right now, and we have an avalanche warning in effect for the mountains of northern Utah.
Now, they also say with a persistent weak layer in our snowpack, elevated avalanche danger will continue to be something to look out for as we continue to get more snow, which obviously we do need. Reporting live at the base of Little Cottonwood Canyon, Curtis Booker, ABC4 News.
So Thank you, Curtis. Let's check in here with meteorologist Thomas Gieboy. Where do we stand with our avalanche risk this morning, Thomas?
Well, Brian, it's going to be running quite high for the Logan area all the way up through the Logan area. So if you're going to be planning on going to the mountain today to enjoy a lot of the fresh patter that we have, just make sure you're avoiding the backcountry. It's going to be a day where you're going to want to do so. Even down towards the Skyline area, the Moab area, and the Abajos in southeastern Utah. And we're now beginning to see a decent amount of snow falling in southwestern Utah. So that might be another consideration as well. But today in northern Utah especially, avoid the backcountry because that avalanche danger will be quite high. Throughout the overnight, we have seen a little bit of lake effect along the Wasatch Front. Really not seeing too much for the time being, but our mountains still seeing some snow in northern Utah. Meanwhile, southern Utah dealing with the majority of the wet weather, mainly from I-70 southward. I have seen a good amount of snow near Clear Creek Summit, and also over towards Cedar City has been dealing with a decent amount of snow as well. And here's the view from Cedar City Airport, where it continues to dump out there this morning. And this has been pretty consistent since last night. So this morning around Cedar City, we are definitely going to be looking at some slick roads, and that's going to be a good chance across a good amount of southern Utah. Meanwhile, in northern Utah, ABC4 News Studios, nice and quiet. Not really seeing too many issues across the Salt Lake Valley, the Utah Valley, but in the Utah Valley, when you get south of Payson, we have seen some lake effect to cause some issues on the roadways there. But for a daytime high 31 in Salt Lake City, cold and breezy, while St. George, that chance for wet weather will clear this afternoon, but those winds will be increasing by this evening. And we do have a wind advisory that will go into effect that will be lasting through 5 o'clock in the morning, as some gap winds in lower Washington County will be a possibility. As we check our traffic, we have a few incidents out there, but most of those are in the clearing stages. But that North Temple traffic signal failure at 3rd West, treat that as a 4-way stop. If you're getting out on Bangor Highway, drive time's looking great this morning. From I-15 to I-80, 25 to 26 minutes. That's right on time. Safe travels.
I will do. Thank you, Thomas. In international news, a Russian airstrike blew up a maternity and children's hospital in the Ukrainian city of Mariupol. You're looking at the aftermath from that strike. It killed at least 3 people and injured 17 others during what was supposed to be a temporary ceasefire yesterday to allow Ukrainian people to evacuate. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky calls it an atrocity and is pleading once again to close the skies over Ukraine. The U.S. is hesitant to make this type of move for fear that it could trigger a wider war with Russia.
The intelligence community has assessed that the transfer of MiG-29s to Ukraine may be mistaken as escalatory.
Now, the White House says U.S. defense officials are exploring other options that may also be effective to help Ukraine fight back.
Meanwhile, the severe sanctions are causing many Russians to pay for the price of war in Ukraine. Now, some are reportedly fearful of losing their freedom and economic opportunity. As reporter Nicole Burley explains, some are even thinking of leaving the country now.
It's estimated that at least 5,000 Russians have been arrested in anti-war protests. Russians can't speak freely about the war online or out loud without fear of arrest. They're not even allowed to call it a war. Putin's edict is that it's strictly a, quote, special operation. On top of that, some Russians say they're starting to feel the sting of rejection from Western economic sanctions.
Life has been ruined dramatically. It is impossible to make any plans. Our savings are lost. We cannot use them. It's scary to even enter the shops. I have to search for a job, 3 or 4 working shifts.
How do you see your future?
My future? To relocate to another country, to be honest.
Already in another country is Ivan Cherniskudov.
People who are in Moscow, they go and protest, and kudos to them. I mean, they're heroes to the future of Russia.
Ivan and his wife were born in Russia, but now live in Indiana. They say right now, even staying in touch with family is a concern because messenger apps are tracked by the Russian government.
If you dare to say anything that is that disagrees with the main line of the Kremlin, at that point, you could go to jail, you could get beaten.
He says fears of further crackdowns on civil liberties, combined with a plummeting economy, are pushing more Russians to consider leaving for good.
Putin is destroying the future. That's the future. When you have people who are very well educated, who are very capable, very skilled, trying to, or even thinking about leaving the country, and they don't see a potential in the country that they're living in, that is destroying the future in effect.
But it's important to note some Russians are not as concerned, as the Kremlin churns out propaganda characterizing Putin's invasion as a special operation to, quote, denazify Ukraine.
It's not a big deal. We've gotten through worse. We'll get through this also.
Whatever the outcome, Ivan hopes this conflict does not result in sweeping generalizations about his home country.
Not all Russians are the same, but just like not all the people are the same anywhere. I mean, there's different mentalities, there's different thinking in the United States.
That was Nicole Burley reporting. This morning, there's a new push to give drivers a break from gas taxes as prices continue to climb. Now, governors from Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, they all sent a joint letter to Congress urging them to suspend the gas tax through the rest of the year. This is AAA reports the national average has jumped 59 cents this past week alone.
Now, people who take Uber or Lyft may soon start feeling the pinch from record gas prices. Uber and Lyft drivers have to cover their own fuel costs. So to avoid high gas prices, some drivers are now leasing electric cars. A professor who researches ride-sharing companies says it's not only a matter of time before that cost gets passed on to customers.
It's not worthwhile for drivers to be driving. If they're losing money on every ride, they will in many cases stop driving, at least temporarily. That is probably going to lead to surges for the customers. It's also going to lead to longer wait times.
Now, Uber says they'll keep looking for ways to support drivers, and Lyft says they'll also take steps to help. Both companies offer rewards apps meant to help drivers get cash back when buying gas.
Time now is 6:11. Coming up on GMU, with COVID cases going down, Utah health leaders say keep testing. Why they say it's crucial to help finally ending this pandemic. Coming up.
That's an experience you just can't take away, the independence that brings.
And a new way to explore the arts. How a Utah museum is using technology to help those who are visually impaired. That story's coming up next. Welcome back. In southern Utah, the Utah Department of Transportation is working to fix visibility on the roads. Now, currently, there are several options UDOT is considering, including changing the paint used to stripe the roads. Now, UDOT says they're testing roughly 100 different materials during this 3-year process. We're told UDOT's main concern right now is safety.
That's one of the primary focuses here, and so it's critical that you're able to see where you're going and what lane you're in when you're driving, and that's why we want to make sure that our striping is as visible as it can possibly be.
Now, Gleason says the solution to better visibility on the roads will take some time. All right, time now is 6:14, which means it's time for your weather on the 4s with meteorologist Thomas Gieboy. And Thomas, you know, we're still seeing some of that snow coming down.
Yeah, we are in some of our mountains, but that snow will gradually taper as we go throughout the morning. Meanwhile, in southern Utah, it's going to take a little bit longer for that wet weather to clear out of southern Utah, but this afternoon will bring clearing skies for just about everybody. But it is going to be a cold and breezy day today, and then it'll be turning downright frigid tonight, and we'll also be seeing some wind concerns in lower Washington County by later this afternoon as this storm system continues to move to the south. But in northern Utah, and especially in the backcountry, the avalanche danger will be running high. So today's going to be one of those days where you want to avoid the backcountry from the Provo area all the way up through the Logan area. That avalanche danger will be running high through at least today and possibly into tomorrow as well. But as we zoom things in here on the Storm Tracker radar, really not seeing all that much in northern Utah, but when I show you a camera in just a little bit, we are still seeing some snow at least up in the Cottonwoods and some of our northern Utah mountains. But down in southern Utah, that's where majority of the action's happening, whereas as steady snow continues to fall around Cedar City, and we're still seeing some snow along the I-70 corridor. It's just hard for the radar to be able to see that. And around St. George, there has been some rain, but things are relatively calm in St. George for the time being, as you're still looking at a mostly cloudy sky out there. It's still a really pretty view looking towards the Red Rock, but at least throughout the next couple of hours, we'll keep that slight chance for predominantly rain down in St. George, but I wouldn't be completely surprised if we are able to see a wintry mix. It's just too warm for that for the time being. But in Cedar City, it's not too warm for that, and that snow continues to fall, and this has been consistent since last night. So if you're traveling out on the roadways, say between Cedar City and Beaver and up towards I-70, be extra careful. Up at Solitude, we're still seeing a little bit of that snow falling, but definitely not as heavy compared to what we saw yesterday. But in Solitude, around 2 feet of snow, and over 2 feet of snow in Brighton, Alta, and Snowbird. And Snowbird actually got close to 30 inches of snow. So if we get a little bit more snow this morning, maybe they can get to that threshold. But in Harriman, things are relatively quiet. And as we go throughout the first half of the morning, there will be a slight chance that we could see some additional lake effect, but really the bulk of any wet weather will continue to be in central and southern Utah as that storm system continues to move down to the south, clearing skies throughout the afternoon. Then tonight, we'll see partly cloudy to mostly clear skies across the state as it turns frigid. Then for our Friday, we're going to get a lot of sunshine, and temperatures will finally start a warming trend. But your hourly forecast in Salt Lake City, temperatures are going to be hanging out in the 20s at 21 degrees right now, and by 2 o'clock, we'll only be at 29 degrees. We'll likely top out around 30, 31 degrees. That's about 20 degrees below average. It is going to be a chilly day for sure. And down in St. George, once this wet weather clears, those winds expected to really increase, and we could see some gap winds in lower Washington County. That's something that we'll be keeping a close eye on, but we'll keep those temperatures in the 50s tomorrow before we're eventually close to 70 degrees by Sunday. Then along the Wasatch Front, a slight chance for some lake effect this morning, but that chance running pretty low. Daytime high of only 31, a little bit warmer for our Friday, and then that warming continues this upcoming weekend as we bring a slight chance of rain near 50 degrees on our Sunday. As we check our traffic out there this morning, we continue to follow an accident on I-15 just south of Provo. That's going to be I-15 northbound, an accident US 6 westbound, crash at Utah 141, and a signal failure at North Temple at 3rd West Street. That is a 4-way stop. Salt Lake City to Ogden, drive time right on time, 30 minutes in both directions. Safe travels, and don't forget, if you want to take your weather with you on the go, just download the Pinpoint Weather app. Go to the Apple App Store or Google Play. It's free. Or scan the QR code you see right there on your screen.
All right, thank you, Thomas. The Natural History Museum of Utah now says it's offering something no other museum in Utah provides.
Yeah, a new app is expected to change how many visually impaired people explore that museum. ABC4's Courtney Johns has more.
The Natural History Museum of Utah is taking audio tours to a whole new level using something called IRA that will allow people who may not be able to see the exhibits a whole new way to appreciate what this museum has to offer.
And do you need descriptions as you're going around, or are we just kind of navigating?
The app IRA gives Everett Bacon the opportunity to explore on his own.
They can see through your camera, and they give you visual information. They tell you how to navigate throughout a building, when to turn, when to stop, when to look for a sign.
And now more people like Everett can use it for free anytime they visit the Natural History Museum.
There will be a puck on this case here on your right.
This, coupled with the audio tour pucks,
Air Dance Chief Jack Cansey Jr. allow more people the opportunity to immerse themselves in the exhibits.
We worked with a professional descriptive tour writer to convert information where, one of the scientists may say, take a look at this, and then we would add a visual description so that a person who is blind or has low vision can understand what the scientist is referring to.
Right now, the tours are available in English and Spanish, but the museum plans to add 6 more languages, saying the mission is to create a place the entire community feels welcome.
So it's a rabbit fur blanket. That's pretty cool.
But the coolest part for Everett is the freedom he has to explore.
I can actually come up here anytime I want and just enjoy a nice afternoon in a museum or an evening or something like that, and just really experience the beauty and the art and the history that this place brings.
These audio tours are connected to a server which will collect information so that the museum can figure out which sites are the most popular, which they say in turn will allow them to create even better exhibits. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Courtney Johns, ABC4 News.
Well, thanks to Courtney. It's a great opportunity to make sure it's more inclusive for everybody.
It is, and all the different languages too. I think that's so incredible.
The time now is 6:20. Up next on GMU, a multi-million-dollar investment for the Utah National Guard. See where the Guard is building a new center home to thousands of soldiers. As we head to the break, here's a live look outside downtown Salt Lake on this Thursday morning. Now, it's not intentional here, but can you see the Ukraine colors in our skyline this morning? We're back with more after this.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, the latest on the war in Ukraine. High-stakes diplomatic talks taking place this morning. The foreign ministries of both countries meeting face-to-face. Russia still unleashing relentless attacks on civilians, and concern growing over the safety of nuclear power plants that are now under Russian control. We're on the ground with the latest, and you'll see it right here on GMA.
Utah's most accurate forecast. Here's a pinpoint weather update.
Good morning, Utah. We're coming up on 6:24 here on this Thursday morning. Happy Friday Eve. Wanted to talk about snow totals because They're pretty good for our northern Utah mountains especially. I just checked our snow totals. Alta of the last 48 hours checking in with 27 inches of snow. And if you think that's impressive, how about Snowbird at 29 inches? We'll take it. And as snow continues to fall a little bit in Little Cottonwood Canyon and Big Cottonwood Canyon this morning, we still could see that increase just a little bit. Meanwhile, Brighton at 25 inches, also Solitude at 25 inches, Snow Basin at 17, Sundance at 16. Beaver Creek 14, Park City Mountain over a foot at 14 inches of snow as well. Deer Valley picked up a foot of snow, at Woodward 9 inches, and even at Cherry Peak 8 inches of snow. We needed all of this, and hopefully, at least in the Cottonwoods, we're able to pick up a little bit more, because as we go through the morning, the chance for snow will gradually begin to taper as that storm continues to work its way down to the south. But because we have all of this snow, and we've seen different kind of liquid ratios to our snow recently, we are looking at a high avalanche danger for our backcountry in northern Utah, from the Provo area all the way up to the Logan area. So today going to be one of those where you want to avoid the backcountry. We are looking at wet weather in southern Utah, and you can see down in St. George, it's probably the most cloud coverage we've seen in quite some time. Rain off in the distance, but relatively quiet from the Dixie Tech camera. But down in southern Utah and lower Washington County, by later today into tonight, winds will really be increasing and could see some strong gap winds, so something to keep in mind. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that. As we check our traffic, we do have a couple of incidents. One of those, an accident US 6, and also a signal failure North Temple at 3rd West. Treat that as a four-way stop. But this morning, traffic definitely flowing along better compared to what we saw yesterday morning. Provo to Salt Lake City, 36 minutes in both directions. Safe travels.
Will do. Thank you, Thomas. Covering the coronavirus, Utah's COVID cases keep dropping, and state health leaders say to keep our progress up, people sick with the virus need to keep getting tested. The Weber Morgan Health Department says it will take continued months of lower cases to finally say we're out of the pandemic. And they urge anyone who gets sick to stay home, get tested, and get boosted if you haven't yet. Health leaders say it will relieve the undue burden on our local hospitals.
Those high numbers in our hospitals and those deaths that we feel could have hopefully been prevented if we could take the actions that we needed to.
Now, right now, Americans can order 4 additional free at-home COVID tests through the U.S. Postal Service.
Happening today, the Utah National Guard breaks ground on the new Nephi Readiness Center. The $26 million project is taking shape near the airport there. Now, the center will be home to about 2,000 National Guard soldiers and about 100 vehicles and equipment. We're told they'll use that facility for classroom and technical training. The ceremony is set for 1 o'clock this afternoon. Meantime, Governor Spencer Cox is expected to announce millions of dollars for rural broadband service today. Now, this is part of his internet speed test initiative. It's to get Utahns to self-report how bad their internet service is in rural areas. That way, the state can work on improving it. So if you want to check your internet speed, just make sure you head to speedtest.utah.gov.
627 still ahead on GMU. A Russian airstrike hits a Ukrainian maternity hospital. Here, Ukraine's president is asking Western leaders to respond. Plus,
people are buying triple, quadruple in quantities.
The war in Ukraine sparking panic buying. Find out how much a Utah business had to raise prices on a food staple in just the last few days. As we head to the break, here's a live look outside. We have a blue start to our morning here on this Thursday, looking live at Snow Basin. We're back with more GMU right after this.